Joined by Jordan Miller, a reporter for Jordan Miller News. Jordan, you were at last night's community event and spoke with residents. We saw the heated comments by the mayor. What did people have to say?
Well, Nick, let me first say people weren't happy when they showed up, and this was supposed to be an open town hall meeting at first, and then they decided, you know what, we're not going to do that. We're going to make it where people walk in and they will just walk up to booths and ask people their questions, and that made people even more irritated. And in that video that you just saw with the mayor, he got really loud in the gym along with another resident and said, this isn't what you guys showed up for. You guys showed up for answers, and we're going to give you the answers that you need. And he looked at everyone, he yelled, we're going to have everyone go up in the stands and they can ask questions. We just hope everyone stays civil. If it doesn't, then we're going to have to end it. But Mayor Trent Conaway was very passionate yesterday, and he was annoyed that Norfolk Southern, they're the ones who moved it from a town hall originally and to this open forum with the booths set up that they walk around, and then Norfolk Southern never even showed up. If you want to talk about angry residents, that peed them off a little bit more.
Jordan, there's so much with that because you're right. It went from town hall to open house where they were going to hand out pamphlets as if that was supposed to answer questions. And then we see the mayor upset because I'm sure he too is feeling the pressure from his neighbors. He knows everybody in town. He's part of that community himself. Well, my question to you is, do you think that the residents of East Palestine feel any better after last night's town hall now that they see that the mayor is also irritated by everything that's happening?
Not at all. Not at all. I spoke with one woman after the town hall concluded, and she said, I'm a mother of 5. I have 5 boys, and I still don't know if I can give them a bath. I wanted answers. I came in here with a lot of questions, and I left with a lot of those questions unanswered. People are still very upset in East Palestine, and they want answers. And what they were most furious about is Norfolk Southern. The people at the head of the train derailment, they weren't there, and they quoted, because they feared for their safety.
As if the people living there dealing with possibly contaminated water aren't fearing for theirs. Jordan, I have to ask you, though, are people more frustrated with the federal government, or are they more frustrated, in your opinion, with Norfolk Southern?
That is a great question. If you were to walk up to someone right now in East Palestine and ask them, I think that they would say Norfolk Southern. They want answers from Norfolk Southern. We just found out yesterday that there was a woman who lives fairly close to the railroad tracks who said that Norfolk Southern deemed her house toxic and unsafe for her to return. And that was news to everyone, including the mayor and the fire chief of East Palestine. But people were calling out the White House. They were wondering, where is Pete Buttigieg in this whole thing? They want answers, and they feel as though the White House is kind of turning a blind eye to everything that's happening in East Palestine.
I can only imagine how people want accountability more than anything else, because I'm thinking, what do you do when you live in a city like East Palestine? You probably work in the area. You can't sell your home. You can't just move. And I don't think that people get the weight that people there are carrying. Now, the EPA administrator, Michael Regan, will visit East Palestine today. He's expected to meet with community members and visit the site of the train derailment. Is that enough? Will it have any impact on reassuring people that the town is safe? My question is, who's going to be the first one to drink some of that water?
Well, that's a great question there, Nick, because people keep saying, if the water is safe, if we can bathe in it, if we can wash clothes, wash dishes in it, then why are we drinking bottled water? And the EPA, they're saying that they'll stay in the area as long as necessary. But that isn't easing the minds of anyone. And I thought a reporter asked a phenomenal question to Governor Mike DeWine 2 days ago in a press conference and said, Governor, if this happened to your house, would you return home? He said, yeah, I'd return home. I would drink the bottled water, but I would return home. And to a lot of people, that's a slap in the face to them, because they're thinking, drink bottled water, but you're also in the same breath telling me that my water is okay. So there's something that isn't answered, or there's at least some concern if you're telling me to drink bottled water.
And then, Jordan, we learned from our reporter, Stephanie Haynes, that it's not only just about the bottled water, that those who may be on city water they have a different filtration system possibly than those who are using well water. So those concerns are different for those who may be using a different water system, correct?
Yeah, so that is right. Their main worry when it comes to telling people to drink bottled water, it's for the people that are on wells. But they're also saying if you're in the city, well, you can get bottled water that they'll provide and you can drink that. But there's people not washing dishes, not bathing themselves or their children, and doing necessary things around their house because they're living in fear inside their house in East Palestine.
Well, know that our hearts, and we're definitely following this story. We will definitely stay on top of this. Jordan Miller, thanks so much for joining us this morning, and we will, of course, check back in with you as this continues to develop as a story.
Thanks for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com to find NewsNation in your cable lineup. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of NewsNation's fact-based, unbiased coverage.